probably say I deal with somebody every day who says my mind is running.
Yes.
Or and that's not just talking to clients, it's talking to family members, it's talking to strangers in shops. Well, no one's a stranger when I talk to them. Talking to randoms in shops and any of those things. This is a really common I'm going to say problem. Common no, not a problem, it's a common occurrence.
Issue or occurrence.
Yeah.
Wobble. It's a wobble.
Yeah, it is. And it depending on what's going on around you.
Debz is a stressologist. She will stretch your mindset to think bigger than you've ever thought before, with follow-through techniques that are realistic and achievable to blow any fear out of your mind. Moira is a mindset cultivator. She will help you align your personal trinity of self-trust, inner awareness, and self-confidence so that you discover and share your unique gifts and purpose. Together, their goal with these conversations is to share how our inclinations do not always work in our best interest and to provide the knowledge to leverage the gifts that already exist within each one of us. Their desire is to help you learn how to access the habits and behaviors that will lead to positive change and your best quality of life. Welcome to your deliciously motivated mindset.
Welcome, dear friends. Welcome, dear Deb. How are you?
Hi. I'm great. Great.
Of course, you're great. Welcome, dear friends. Here we are, Debz and Moira, with another one of our deliciously motivated mindset podcast conversations where we're going to just light your whole life up with these tips and ideas that we've got ready for you. Actually, I say ready for you, but we never do. We have a title and we just run with it. And so rest assured, whatever you walk away from this episode with, it's going to be exactly what you need. It's just setting the intention. That's my intention.
That's my intention.
Yeah.
And usually I write down the topic, and I haven't even written down the topic on my piece of paper this time. I'll write it when you start talking it.
We'll get to that in just a wee minute. Before we launch into our topic for today, before we start, we like to do this wee exercise. It's a self-assessment exercise where we kind of invite you to do this, and we do it with you, where we check in, how are we doing on a scale of 0 to 10? So 0 is where you're feeling calm, present, poised, just zenned out, really in this moment. And 10 is when you're sitting in the corner, sucking your thumb, not knowing if you can fix something or figure it out or get out of it. Stuck somewhere. And let's face it, we cycle up and down these scale, or these numbers, or the different places on that scale. But the key piece is to just have an awareness of it. And as soon as you have an awareness of it, it then no longer drives you so much. So that's the main piece. So we invite you to assess yourself, make a wee note of it maybe, and then at the halfway mark, you can just check in. How are you doing on that scale of 0 to 10? And then again, we'll circle back in at the very end and check your number there too. Of course, the intent of our conversations always is to come as close as we can to that 0 point. Exactly. So all that being said, my dear, what number are you going to put yourself at the beginning here?
I'm going to do a 3 because I have, I've talked to you for an hour this morning, and I've had I probably have one cough from first morning cough, and now all of a sudden I've got a, and I'm like, going into the mindset around that, I'm like, oh, there's something brewing.
Here.
So,
okay.
So I'm going to say a 3.
Okay, so you're a 3. I'm going to put myself at a 2.5. I don't have anything particularly going on in my throat, but I have a lot of stuff running around in my head because this is going to be a really good topic.
Yeah.
Because what we're talking about, we want to give you tips to stop your mind chatter running a marathon. And even that title just gets my head start going, oh, maybe we need to talk about this, and oh, we need to remember that tip, and make sure we cover this topic. And so it's just a wanting to make sure we give good value here and really help set this foundation of helping people be the master of their mind chatter, so that it's not running them. Just kind of what that's about, right?
Yeah, and well, this topic is a common one, and I don't want people to think that we sit in a zero all the time, because it's just unrealistic. Oh, that's a fantasy. I'd love to sit in a zero, or maybe I'd love to sit in a one all the time.
Yeah, might get a bit vanilla if we ever did just sit at one number anyways, wouldn't it?
I'll be all right for maybe 3 months, 6 months. Just a little bit of a fantasy there.
Yeah.
But this here is so common, and I would probably say, without consciously thinking about it, I'd probably say I deal with somebody every day who says my mind is running.
Yes.
Or and that's not just talking to clients, it's talking to family members, it's talking to strangers in shops. Well, no one's a stranger when I talk to them. Talking to randoms in shops, and any of those things. This is a really common I'm going to say problem. Common no, not a problem, it's a common
issue.
Occurrence.
Issue or occurrence. Yeah. Wobble. It's a wobble.
Yeah, it is. And it depending on what's going on around you with your PEMS, obviously. That's how big of a wobble it is.
So we remember that the PEMS is the PEMS. That's your physical, well-being, emotional, mental, and spiritual. Because I just like to make sure, because not everybody listening may have listened to us before. So welcome. If this is your first episode, welcome.
Virgin, welcome. Thank you. So Miss Virgin, Mr. Virgin, whatever you are, don't forget to get a pen, a PEN, or a biro or something, and start writing. Now, I prefer pen and paper just because it works for me, but if you're a note taker and you want to type it into your phone, or don't do it if you're driving, or if you're on your computer or something. But I just like pen and paper because it's just a different recognition from your brain to your hand.
It's a really good way to anchor in and anchor in awareness for yourself. It's like a cellular awareness of it.
So grab your pen and paper, or your phone, because we are going to give you some top tips. And I'm actually going to start with number one, because Moira did slip it out at the very start, was awareness.
Yes.
And I believe once you're aware and you recognize it, that is the first stage of healing. And if I was to call it healing, as soon as you're aware, you can go, oh, that makes sense, or oh, no wonder that's happening. Now, it's not blaming or anything, but just being aware of going, well, no wonder I've had no sleep. So of course I'm going to feel rough. Or, oh, I haven't eaten for 4 hours. No wonder I've got no energy. Or, and it's just that awareness. And as soon as you're aware, and it's not putting a good or bad on it, it's more oh, no wonder. It's just an awareness. Then you don't need to label it, good or bad. And then you can just go, okay, now what can I deal with it? But as soon as you're aware, your first level of healing's already started from resolving.
Yeah. I completely agree with you. And I would say that leading right on from that, once you have that awareness, the next piece actually is accepting it, right? To your point, oh yeah, no wonder it's because I haven't had enough sleep, or I'm hungry, or I've got too many things on my to-do list, or that it's to just pause for a moment and say it is what it is. Because here's the key piece about mind chatter is it's going to happen with you listening to it or not. And that's the key piece, right? Is that, I'm a meditation teacher, and many, many people come to me and say, oh, I've tried that meditation stuff. It doesn't work for me because my mind won't stop. Truth is, none of our minds stop. So this idea that
That's actually a perfect one, because I know when it comes to meditating or anything, I sit there and I lie there or whatever, and I go, oh, did I lock that front door? Did I turn my phone off?
yeah.
That's the thing. And then I'm like, get back to it. And I zone back to it. And then I'm like, my mind goes, oh, shoot, I need to remember to get some milk on the way home. Go back to it.
Yeah, exactly. Come back to the breath. But here's the thing, is in that example, a lot of people will then, oh gosh, there I did it again. I'm thinking again. And think that's
I don't.
a lot of people do.
Okay. I do go, oh, got to get back to it. But
so good that you
you're
got
right.
to get back to it. But getting back to it does not mean that the mind chatter stops.
Yeah.
So the key piece about mind chatter running a marathon is, can you dial the volume down? I think that coming to your breath, or just having that awareness, it's almost like it creates a wee bit of a buffer of, oh, there, my mind chatter is running a marathon. It's actually because it's fear-based or anxiety-based, or I got some sense of panickiness happening.
Yeah.
So now I can soothe that and not necessarily go down all the different rabbit holes that mind chatter marathon might be running down into, right?
Well, and I think I'm not going to talk about the downsides of letting that mind chatter run that marathon. But it gets to that point where you are going to, well, I'm going to talk about it. You do get immobilized, and you do have that freeze state. And when you're immobilized, it's harder to get going. It's like stopping a bicycle. It's harder to stop, start, balance yourself, get going again. In those things, whereas it just keep moving, and it's easier to keep the wheels moving than it is to stop and start.
Yeah.
If you're on a hill and you're biking up a hill, it's easier just to keep going, even if you have to go diagonal, get off your seat. I can feel the pain now going back to my past.
Just
it was
one
on a bicycle.
baby step.
And you do it, and you weave sideways to get up that hill.
Yeah,
you do, and you just push forward or lean back a little bit. You find your rhythm. I guess that's probably it. Find your rhythm. But as soon as you stop, it's way harder to get moving. So it is about, could you say, pushing through? I don't know if it's really my words.
I'm not sure about saying pushing through. I think the key piece here is to realize that mind chatter is a whole big mishmash of thoughts, right? One thought spawns to the next, right? But you are the animating force of it.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean when I talk about dialing the volume down. I mean that, okay, the thoughts are going to keep going, like your example, right? Of, oh, did I turn this door off? Oh, did I lock the door? Oh, is the cat fed? Oh, no, is the dog. For you, dog. In your case, it's the dog. In my case, it's the cat.
And then when you settle down, the dog barks. Oh, what now? Yeah.
But it's the, I don't need to go with it. I can just let it sail away.
Yeah.
Right. And so therefore, maybe instead of that mind chatter being a marathon that's running, I could actually let it just be a flowing river,
simmering
that
underneath.
Just flows away. It's okay. I can still stay here and be calm and at ease and present to what is the step that I need to take forward. Because to your point, if we don't do it that way, we can become immobilized of the, oh my God, there's so many things here that I've got to contemplate and pay attention to, that it's super distracting.
Yeah, so our first tip was awareness, and our second was accepting. And so even just those, if you just get those two things happening, or even just one, number one, awareness. As soon as you're aware, you're like, oh, yeah, okay. Yeah. If you just get that done in your day, that is a win. That is a massive win. If you get that and accepting, that makes so much sense. And I'm not going to beat myself up because, like you said, it is what it is. It is what it is.
It is what it is. I'm not going to beat myself up or think I'm a schmuck or be guilty or
silly
any
me,
of
or
that.
this,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
all, and that's all part of that mind chatter running a marathon that goes right back to our youth, right back to when we were 4 years old, when mum took the popsicle off us or whatever, and
Yeah,
and
yeah.
right back, because that's how long that marathon can go.
Mhm,
Any story that you have stored in your memory
mhm.
is your imagination, is how you put it, because clearly if your sister sits there and she sees it's something completely different, her imagination is different to yours, but you can go right back. So even just if you only get to awareness and accepting, you've already won.
You've won.
Already
Yeah,
won
yeah, yeah.
a level of your marathon.
Truly, truly. And something
There's more
else.
tips in that, I will say, just in case people go, great, we'll sign off now. No, don't sign off, there is more. But just those two, just
Those
you've
are
already
the
won.
pivotal ones to actually
Yeah.
say, yes, now you can
Yeah.
celebrate that's
Yeah.
not going to run your show anymore. But something that I actually say to a lot of my clients and students is this mind chatter. Like you're saying, sometimes it can go way, way, way back to when you were like 4 years old.
Yeah.
So sometimes if you have some time and maybe it's a repeating loop, that it's like you're aware that you've got this mind chatter that keeps saying, oh, don't go there, or that's going to fall apart, or this isn't good enough. Pause for a wee minute. You could pause and put your hand over your heart and say, who said that? Just who said that? Because sometimes you will find that when this marathon idea is going, it's something that you heard or you animated or you took on. It's not even yours. That who said that can actually be sometimes, oh, it's actually my dad. It's not even.
That's not me, and it wasn't. And it wasn't actually me. It was to my sister, and I just happened to attach that.
Exactly.
So that's a great third tip: is question your stories.
Yes,
but not question the why, because
we don't go in
marathon.
There.
That marathon's going to run you around the world. The why, no whys. But who said that's a great one? Just to that makes sense.
Yeah.
That no wonder. And then it jumps back to awareness and accepting.
Yeah. But
no wonder that's happened because.
But you can so right there, because you've heard me say this before, is always to make sure you come back to you're the boss of you. And so if asking yourself who said that, and you go, oh gosh, it was my brother or my sister or my mother, then you can have a wee bit of a sense of humor. It's like, okay, gee, thanks. I don't listen to that anymore. Thanks. But I'm still the boss of me. So I'm not going to let that run me or that marathon to continue.
Yeah, and I think that's I'm the boss of me is a great one when you put your hand on your heart.
Mm-hmm.
Who said that? And if you're questioning when your mind chatter happens, my hand on my heart's pretty much constantly there all day long. Whenever something happens, I just put my hand on my heart and it's just an instant bang.
Me too.
That was a click through your ears. It was an instant bang, ground myself straight away. I live here. And I know that Moira has constantly told me or constantly reminded me that when you put your hand on your heart, I live here. I live here.
Absolutely.
And that's where I live. If I can make all my decisions and my choices and ideas from my heart, I'm going to have a more fulfilling life than sitting in my head.
Precisely.
Now, the head can say, yes, turn left or turn right. But as soon as I can live in my heart, I can absolutely make those decisions there. And so that's that. I'm the boss of me. Hand on heart. I'm the boss of me. Oh my God, I can feel myself. Oh my God, I can feel my heartbeat. Oh my God, I am the boss of me. Holy moly. And that's literally how quick it can be, though.
Truly.
And then you're back to knowing with certainty.
Yes.
I'm the boss of me.
Yeah. And in a very empowered, uplifted way, as opposed to something that you had to fight for.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because we are none of us in this life story. None of us are actually engineered or programmed or set up to make decisions from our thinking mind. That's why it can get very crazy making, that your mind chatter just keeps going and going and going and going. No, once we get into the understanding that is a program that's within you that's designed to keep you safe. And I've got my fingers in the air, the quotation marks here, safe, right?
Yeah.
But it's based on, like we're just talking about, it could be based on something that you witnessed when you were 3 years old, or it could be something that you overheard or you took on, or something that did suit you in a different chapter of your life. And that it's by just having that awareness of that mindset, that thought, that way of being suited that. I appreciate it, I accept it, but right here, right now, come into your heart and see what feels like the right choice, the yes or the no. And when you align with that, it actually helps to reduce the volume also, because now there's not any more of like, oh, are you sure? Maybe you should have taken the purple pill or the red pill, the blue pill,
or the whole box of pills.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll just pick any old one. And I think, going from that is that tip, you make the decisions. So you can have a mentor, and you can have, maybe your mentor is us, or maybe your mentor is your parents or your sister or your best friend. You're starting a new business, your best friend's already been in business for 5 years, so you're going to go to her for answers, her or him for answers. You're going to go to your best friend. But just remember, so for me, your decisions must be in alignment with you. Just because they've succeeded does not mean it's going to work for you. And so one of the things, and when I first got into my business, people said to me, Deborah, you need a niche. Deborah, you need a niche. You need a niche.
Said to me all the time.
Oh,
like, yeah, sure.
And yes, a niche is great. If you want a niche, go for a niche. But for me, I didn't want a niche. I didn't want to just work with females or just males or young children or old children, young or old or babies. I didn't want, or animals or whatever. That wasn't my thing. Mine was to give everyone an opportunity to help unclutter their mind, unpack their mind. And for me, it wasn't a niche that I needed, I believed. People were like, you need to target this. You need to need. Now, this is their way of thinking. So just be aware, like, when Moira said the hand on the heart, I'm the boss of me, this is also your choice, because people say, oh, you need to say this. Here's your elevator pitch. And people give it to me and I'll be like, I couldn't say that. That's not my words.
Right.
I wouldn't even say those words. And they're like, but that's what you need to learn to get ahead in business. So now 16 years or 17 years in my own business, I'm well and truly make my own decisions. When people say, oh, have you thought about a niche? Yeah, I have thought about it. It's not for me. Oh, but why? Like, why do I need to tell you why? It's just not for me. Like, let me just move on. If I'm paying you per minute, I don't want to be explaining why. So that's a great one of you make the decisions. Even though other people you put above you who have been in business for longer, you think you need to know what they say. Yes, get some ideas, but it must be put your way. I'm not going to tell you must say A, B, C, D. So if Moira and I turned up and we had our script for this podcast and we knew exactly what Moira said, this is how I'm going to say it, this is what I'm going to say, and I'm going to say this is how I'm going to say it, exactly that. And if I'm watching that and then Moira takes a word out or drops a word or adds more word, I'm going to go, hang on, where is she up to? What's going on?
Exactly. Yep.
So I've dropped the ball of my flow and I'm listening to somebody else's and I'm focusing on them. So it's just a reminder, you make the decisions that work for you in your lifestyle. Some people say, oh, you need to be online at first thing in the morning. You need to be online till 9 o'clock. Now, if you've got young kids, telling you have to be on call for people before 9 o'clock is ridiculous.
Yep.
But people are so firm. Mentors are sometimes so firm and unflexible in ways of going, okay, well, Moira, you've got young 3-year-old. Moira, you haven't. but you need to be on call. You need to have your priorities. You need to have someone come and look after your children till they go to school. Then you're free after 9 a.m. No, that's my peak time. It's just got to work for you is what I'm trying to say.
It has to work for you. And I'm really glad that you brought that into this conversation, because you and I've shared this with you and our listeners before, this question that you ask yourself: how do I feel about myself here?
Oh, yeah.
So in this example that Debz just talked about, because it's happened to me so many times too with business coaches, and oh, you should do it this way, and here's your elevator pitch, or here's your niche, or here's here's the framework to create it for yourself, or and I've gone through some of these things, and I've played the game, and I've done that way.
Yeah. I've tried on someone else's underpants. It doesn't work. Yeah.
No. So how do I feel about myself here? So how do I feel about myself when I've bought into this way of doing it? And if I feel uncomfortable, disingenuous, unaligned, out of whack somehow, or resisting in some way or shape or form, then it's not right for me. And nobody gets to then say, well, you're wrong, because it's not my way. It's not my flow. One of the tools that I use with my clients is human design. And I love this because it's actually helped me in my own business to figure out how I'm wired. I'm not wired to do my business the way many business coaches would have you do it. I'm not wired that way. I'm also not wired to say, here's my niche, and I'm only going to talk to these people. It's by figuring out what is our signature theme. How do we make decisions that then you get to really claim ownership and authorship for your road forward? Some of us are programmed or wired or set up. We do have the resources to be an energized bunny and keep going and have tons and tons of energy, whereas others don't, and they need a lot of alone time.
Others need CEO time.
CEO time. Absolutely. Yeah. So it's and we all have different nuances of this. So I think that when your mind chatter is running a marathon, it could actually be a really big red flag that says you are doing too many shoulds. You're following somebody else's prescription for how you should be doing certain things in your business or in your life or in a relationship. Do you know what I mean?
A quick wee message before we get back to this episode. You can get access to a special gift Moira and Debz have put together for you. Go to deliciouslymotivatedmindset.com/gift. When you sign up, you'll receive instant access to an inner peace kit and the 30 Days of Wisdom program, both of which is intended to help you feel deliciously motivated right away. Go to deliciouslymotivatedmindset.com/gift.
Yeah, and I think that's so I've got on my little computer, is this good for me? Is this good for others? And do I want to?
Do I want to? And they all have to be 3.
Yeah,
Yes,
all three are yes. And that's exactly it. So just because you get a mentor, say for example, you get a mentor and you pay a lot of money and it's more than you've ever paid before or anything like that, but you've got this mentor who's telling you what to do. You're talking to Richard Branson or something, and he says find a niche, and you're like, oh my god, Richard Branson says I need to find a niche. Okay, I need to find a niche. And you're like, but he's so successful. No, in your business, if you don't need a niche, then you don't need a niche. Richard Branson doesn't have a niche for the people who get on his aircraft.
Nope.
He's like, you have to be males between 30 and 40. No, he's not going to have that. Like,
he's not
that's
going to
just
do that. Nope.
No, but so just because Richard Branson says you need a niche, you don't need a niche, is what I'm trying to say. So just you have to make that decision. And I love this. Is it good for me?
Yeah.
Is it good for others? And do I want to?
I want to?
The last part is actually, do I want to?
Yes.
And I reference a glitter bomb. If you've watched me, I often talk about a glitter bomb. And so if it's not a glitter bomb, don't do it. And I'm talking about sparkly glitter, not the charcoal glitter that's got no spark left in it, that's sprinkled on you. Like, we want spark. If it's not lit you up, if it doesn't light you up, do I want to? No, I don't. Then don't do it.
Exactly.
Life is too precious, too short, too amazing to do boring freaking stuff. I could feel that F coming out then. Boring freaking stuff that's just going to uninspire you and make your hair go grey in the time it takes you to do it, because you're going to kick your feet. Your energy into that, whatever you've got to do, is not inspiring. People can feel that energy.
Yeah.
Don't do it. End of story.
Yeah. No, because that's when we like getting into obligation or shoulds. But you know, it in itself will add to that mindset chatter.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
Because
well, you're going to be running a marathon with a 20 kg pack on your back. And for goodness sake, if you're already running a marathon, you do not want another pack of problems put on your back.
Yeah. And so that's where I'm coming from with that how do I feel about myself? Well, I want to feel like maybe I feel nervous about going forward, or I feel a little bit of hesitation, but there's a part of me that says, ooh, this feels really exciting, or I wonder what's going to happen next. So what I feel about myself is I may be feeling a wee bit nervous, but I'm also really excited. Well, that's a good thing. Then I'm not going to overanalyze and get into
that's right.
Right?
Yeah.
But if it's like the obligation piece that you were just talking about, then that's a time to sit and reframe, reset, unpack it. Yeah.
And I think that's just thinking about that. The next tip I would say is brain dump, which is unpacking.
Yes, definitely.
And that is brain dump everything out of your head. If you visualize your head as a garden, your mind is a garden, and you have weeds and you have flowers. If you pick the weeds, you can clearly see the flowers, which are the things that light you up in the glitter bomb, and you can see them, and then you can plant more and more flowers.
Yeah.
But if the weeds are taking over, which is your mind chatter, your negative mind chatter, or your downhill spiral mind chatter, you're not going to see any flowers. All you're going to see is 10 weeds and one little tiny daffodil or something. So I encourage everyone to brain dump, and there is no right and wrong. So you can go through, if you're frustrated with your house, go into your bedroom and go, what would I want to change about that? What do I need to put away? What do I need to do this? And take the pen and paper and do your bedroom. Do it room by room if you need to. All the things you've got to do with the children, like get it out and get it out onto a piece of paper, because when you get it out, I did this with some guy with a client, and he had 7 A4 pages of things that were going on in his head.
Wow.
And you think 7 pages, there is a lot of activity in his brain. And I said to him, just do it over the next 3 or 4 days and just see how you go. And he did. And when he said to me, I've just hit the 7th page, that is where I'm at. And I went, how are you feeling? And he said, well, I'm explaining, no wonder I feel down, because I've just literally, he went through every room in his house. He also did the thing in his business. He did everybody, all his staff and everything, and then went, no wonder I'm not thinking clearly and I've got no inspiration, because my head is full of the weeds.
It's full of that stuff. I love that tip. That's a really important one. I often say get people to do that tip also. However, I take it a little step further too. Rather than necessarily going through every single room, like go through each pillar of your existence, or like your physical well-being, your relationships, your business, your dreams, your aspirations. But also
don't rush it.
Don't rush it. Prioritize. Once you've got the brain dump list, what are the things you can do right here, right now? Then what are the things that you need a wee bit more resources or a wee bit more timeline? So maybe you can look at 2 to 3 months, and then things that are further out. And once you have those and have the streamlined lists, then it's so freeing, right? You can
as soon as you've got it out of your head, like if you leave your office at 5 o'clock. I don't know. Do people actually leave their office at 5 o'clock? If you leave the office at 5 o'clock,
for me,
not here. If you leave the office at 5 o'clock and you've listed the things you're going to do tomorrow, do you not feel more inspired about leaving the office and coming back the next day?
Yes.
It's just a simple. So definitely prioritize, and then you can delegate it or get help. But if you're not clear on what you're wanting, you're not going to be able to prioritize, and you're not going to be able to delegate it, and you're not going to be able to find out time frames and everything after you've brain dump that. But that's exactly it. But if you leave the office and you've got 5 things you would like to get done tomorrow, and you leave the office with a spring in your step, and you come back with knowing you've got 5 things. Now, whether you get those 5 things done or not, I don't know. Or you might only get 4, but knowing you're going in with a purpose and you're going to do this, you feel so much lighter physically, mentally. That marathon is no longer a marathon that you're trying to run in gumboots. Or Wellingtons.
Yes, because you're and actually, to your point, so if I had 5 things to do on my list and I left my office with those 5 things, those are the things that I'm going to start my day with, then maybe I start my day and something else comes in and I need to take care of that first, and so I only get 3 of those 5 things done. That's fine. Those
but do you not feel like you've achieved? But you still, if you feel like you've freaking achieved something, like, oh my God, I've got 3 of the 5 things, yay, and I've got other things done, and da-da-da-da.
Right, so you acknowledge everything, but then those 2 pieces are going to carry forward to the next day. And it's not going to be I should have done that, or I have to work longer, or it's like, no, it just didn't fit into
just shift the goalpost.
Exactly.
It's look, if you don't prioritize your brain, you'll put some order in there, chaos is going to come in. And I say to people, prioritize your daily actions, because universe will go, oh look, she's got an hour free, let's give her dog poop throughout the house, let's give her freaking happens. And then you're like, why me? It's because I wasn't going to do anything. I was literally looking forward to getting on the couch and doing nothing, and da-da-da. And then the universe goes, no, we've got priorities for you and you're not doing them, so we're going to give you something else. It's uninspiring, but it is, and it's not intimidating. But when you brain dump, I will give you a tip with brain dumping, is do not go, I've got so much. Do not go, I'm never going to get this done. I've got 7, like this guy had 7 pages. And he was just like, oh, and he didn't even go, how am I going to start it? He just went, wow, no wonder I'm not sleeping. No wonder I've got pimples on my face at 30 years old. No wonder I'm not eating properly. No wonder this is going on, da-da-da, because it just meant, and that's that awareness and accepting at the start again.
Precisely. And it's appreciating what you can and can't do. Right?
Yeah, it's giving yourself that, okay. Yeah.
No, I love that. Doing the brain dump, I think, is such an important piece, but it also allows you to prioritize, and then just be aware of, when I put things on a list, they're not going to take up space in my mind, because it's like they're done. They're there. I've got them represented in my, I'm going to take care of it. And then you get to go into your own flow.
I know.
Because remember, this coming back to this, you are the boss of you. Right?
And I know. I have my list. So we've moved into a new house. Whenever recently,
a couple
and I
now.
still I was like, when was that? And I still have a long list of things I'd like done, and they're all prioritized in the house. So in the hallway is this, in the top bedroom is this, in the back bedroom is this, and then if someone goes, can I help you with anything? And you go, so what's going on? Do you want a hand around the house? Yeah, I'll show you my list and you choose what you want to do. Now my list is very long, but these are things that, paint the house, that's not going to happen for a year or so. Like, it's not a priority for me, but it's on the list. I have, and I haven't prioritized it as in it's right down, it's just on that list of outside. And people, my friends and my partner, they know, they can look and go, okay, well, paint the house is not happening today because we've got no paint, we haven't prepped it. But it just helps you explain why things are going chaotic in your mind. It just makes sense. But when you read that list, I just really emphasize, watch that guilt. Oh, I should have done this, ought to have done this, have to do this. Oh my God, this has to be done straight away. No. Just bit by bit by bit by bit. But then the other thing is, what you must do is take action.
Yeah.
It's just,
It's not
Just
a
do
thing
it. Was
of
it Nike? Just do it. Yeah.
just do
Take
it.
action.
Yep.
Because if you're not taking action, that if you just look at you pull all the weeds out and you've got the flowers, if you don't re-weed that garden, what happens?
The weeds will come back.
3 weeks later, there's weeds and you're like, hang on, I just brain dumped 3 weeks ago. Yeah, but I've not taken action on anything. And so my head is filling back up with all those weeds.
I love that, because if you think about it, doing a brain dump and writing everything down does not then mean you just go and sit on the couch.
That's exactly it. Well, mind you, sometimes you might want to after brain dumping,
just for a little
but
bit.
it's not for a week.
Yeah.
It's not for a full day. Yeah, but it is. You pull the weeds out. What happens? 2 weeks later, 3 weeks, you're like, what? Why is there more weeds? I just did that. Yes. So it must be an ongoing thing that you're nurturing your brain, your body, your soul with these ongoing actions.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And I'm fully conscious of the time here because I could just keep talking and talking and talking more.
Definitely, but this one for sure.
Is there any tip that you'd like to add in here before we sum these up, Moira? Or will we do the tips and then you might want to add something in?
Yeah, let's run through the tips, because I'm sure that'll bring us with something.
Yeah,
else
I'm sure there's going to be there'll be something in there. So I had the number one. Oh, so what was your number one? Do you want to start?
You start, because I know what your number one was, and then I can jump off that one.
It starts with A for awareness.
Yes.
Awareness. Open your eyes, acknowledge. Well, actually, not acknowledge yet. That's what I think. Is awareness. Just be aware that that's what it is. And, remembering those PEMs.
Yep.
Your pillars, your physical.
Your 4 pillars: physical, emotional, mental, spiritual.
Yeah. And it's just being aware. And the moment you're aware, the first stage of healing has started. You're like, oh, okay, I get that.
Yeah.
That's number one.
Number
one.
2. So number 1 was awareness and recognize, right? That was because you said that as part of that recognize.
Yeah.
The number 2, the one I said, was acceptance. And that kind of plays right in, right? So it's you're aware, you recognize, and you accept it is what it is. I'm not going to get into shaming or guilting or shooting or whining or complaining.
So when Moira says it is what it is, it's not said in an a-hole way.
No.
People. So sometimes people go, "Oh, my boyfriend cheated on me," and they'll go, "Well, it is what it is," and it's like, no. You've got to stay neutral when you say it is what it is, because it is what it is. Typical. It actually is what it is.
That tonality would never come out of me.
No, but when you said it is what it is, I went, oh my God, I've heard people say that in such a,
I have heard it too. Yeah. But here's the thing is, and I love what you just said, it's neutral. So it's kind of like, I'm not going to get into dialogue about it or say it's right or wrong, good or bad, should or shouldn't. It just is. So right there, now I can take a deep breath and say, okay, now I can change. I can change if I want to, but I can't until I say, this is the state of the union right now. This is how it is, right?
And I love that you also said it happens anyway.
Yes.
And it's like, it's happened anyway.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. It happened anyway.
That's right. Yeah.
So so number 2, definitely the acceptance of that. Number 3 I've written down is question your stories.
I love that.
And this is the starting of that unpacking, that marathon that's going to be a short sprint instead. So it's that question your stories. Who said that?
Who said that? And ask yourself, who said that? Yeah.
If you're finding you get yourself into a frazzle and you're asking who said that and you can't pull it up, just park it. Just park that to the side and you can go back to it at any time. If you get yourself into that frazzle, like, oh, I don't know who said that. I don't even know where that story came from. Oh, I need to sit down and with my Zen moment and get my white gown on and my pen and paper. Just park that. But remember that I'm the boss of me. Yeah. And that's that hand on that heart. I'm the boss of me.
I'm the boss of me.
Yeah.
The next tip that I flagged up was to keep moving. Keep the momentum going, even if it is the tiny baby steps, or like Deb was talking about, the going up a hill and zigzagging, to keep going. Just keep the momentum going. So, but coming from your heart, not keeping the momentum going because you're running because the
Out of
mindset
breath.
chatter's going blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's so finding your rhythm, your pace with your awareness and your acceptance, your recognition of where you are and what is it for you to do. So
Yeah.
keep moving, baby steps, if that's what's the pace that you're at. This is a good piece.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The next one I've got is you make the decisions, which entangles into that I'm the boss of me. And I love the how do I feel about this decision? And I look at my computer, is this good for me? Is this good for others? And do I want to?
Yeah.
And they're just little key things to make you a little bit more aware would be
More aware, but also as a reminder that all three of those questions must be answered
be a yes
in order to make that decision. Because if it's not if there's a no on any one of those,
if there's a hesitation
no.
or
It's a no.
Yeah.
It's just it's a yeah. You make the decisions because you.
So you make the decisions. Yeah. Yeah.
The tip that I had here was that when the mind chatter is running a marathon, that it's actually a red flag for you to pause. Maybe you need to have one of these CEO days and just check whose rhythm or agenda am I buying into?
Ooh.
Because it's time for me to realign, rejig, come back into my truth. Right? So that was what I had written down was that it's a red flag to say, wait, I am directed by my heart. And so if this is running, then maybe it is because the business coach told me I needed to have a niche or that I needed to show up at this point. And
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I actually had a conversation with a client quite recently about that, where she was really, really stressed out, and she had been told by a business coach that she had to do all these different things and show up for all these different, and that was the first question. I said, do you want to? Do you want to? And she said, no. I said, well, stop. That's like
sending an introvert on stage to talk about something that they know nothing about.
Yeah.
Listen to me, I'm a little bit charged about that, but that's exactly what happens. That's exactly it. Yeah, that's a perfect one. Well, the next tip I've got is brain dump. I don't know if you brain dump unpacking, prioritize it and then delegate it, or get help for someone to help you to do it. But brain dump, unpick all the weeds, and you'll be able to see the inspiration more clearer.
Definitely. So that just to add into that and circle into it a wee bit more, for me, I was like, the brain dump is writing everything down, all the expectations, all the shoulds, the wants, tos, and then
everything. I don't like my partner because of this, and this. Like, get it all down. Don't ever show your partner that stuff. No. By the way, no. I don't like my partner. I don't like my children. I don't like my staff member. Like, get it all down.
Get it all written down, and then unpack it from there. Are there things that you can? What can you do today? What can you do this week? What can you do this month? What can you do over a 3-month period? What do you need more time, resources, and who can you enroll? Like you're saying, outsource it, farm it out as necessary.
People who like glitter.
Yes.
Get them to sprinkle their glitter on it.
Glitter on it. So that's all the tips I had.
I've got the very last one. Take action.
Oh, that's right. We talked about that. It's
how
not
could you forget that one?
Yes, action. That was where I said that you can't write all your things down on your brain dump and then sit on the couch.
Yeah, that's it. So Moira's just sitting on the couch now. I'm taking action. Take action, take action, take action. And reach out if it gets too much. Like, go back and listen to this podcast. Go back and just reflect if it gets too much of a crazy moment for you. But take action in your time. In your time, and understand that even if it's the tiniest baby step, that's okay. It's that's why I'm saying, if you're looking at what can you do today? Well, maybe all I can do today is sweep around my office. Good. Yeah. Just do that then. That's it. Yeah. And I love that CEO time as well. If that's all I can do today because I've got too many other things on my head, or I've got a thumping headache or anything, if that's all I can take, then that's okay. That's it. Yeah. So take action on those goalposts. So do you have any other tips for that today?
just to keep coming back to, don't let other people tell you who you should be. I think that was part of what we were talking about when I was saying about the human design. I've learned a lot about myself, about different mentoring and coaching that I've had in my business, and it doesn't fit for me. It's okay, because there is never one size fits all. It's about really finding what's right for you. And I think that that's something you dance with. We keep coming back to it, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, totally.
Mind chatter and say thanks, but I'm going to keep coming back to my heart energy.
I'm going to come back to what's important to me. That's right. What's important to me may not be necessarily important to somebody else.
Yes, absolutely.
Perfect. Well, that's us over and out. Yet we also have that little thing that we did at the start where we rated ourselves on our
on how we're doing physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually.
Yeah, and I think you were a 2.5, weren't you?
Yes, I was.
2.5, and I was a 3.
That's right.
So now, and we all checked in at halfway. And so, what listeners? What are you? Let us know where you are. And the intention was definitely to get you closer to the 0. Whether you're the 0 or not, it's totally okay. And if you've gone the other way, that's okay as well. Go back and listen to this podcast again and just see what worked and what didn't work for you, because you'll know if you start listening to, oh, that's right, I missed this point, or this is the part that challenged me the most, or
I know I should do that and I didn't really want to.
Yeah, if you're a coach and you're telling people to find a niche and you're beating yourself up, good. So Moira, you were a 2. I was just joking with that, sort of ish. Moira, you were a 2.5. Be honest, you were a 2.5. I was a 3. Where are you at now?
I'm going to put myself at a 0.5 because I'm feeling good. There's 1 or 2 things that I'm thinking, I think I need to do a bit of that.
I know. I was like, there's things on my list I'm going to have to go back and do because of this damn podcast. It would be wise for me to unpack that. Yes. So I'm going to say a 1 because I've just given myself probably another 3 hours of work. But that's perfect, because I did say today to Moira, I said, this week is all about just getting my office in order and tidying things up. Yep, I've just added another 3 hours to that.
And in the best possible way. I'm
in the totally best possible way. So thank you everybody for joining us. If you loved what you got today and you've got some tips, let us know if we've missed any tips off, or let us know what tip you really love the most, or one that you're even ickiest the most. But if you love today, the next step is to share this. Definitely share this with those you love, share this with those you don't love. Just share.
Just share it. Yes.
Share it and let us know, and then of course comment. But we would love you to start sharing this so we can spread some tips to stop your mind chatter running a marathon.
Absolutely.
So that's Debz Cooper over and out, signing off today from our Deliciously Motivated Mindset conversation. And this is
Moira signing off from our Deliciously Motivated Mindset conversation. Been awesome. Thank you, Deb.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks,
thank you,
everybody.
Listeners.
Bye.
Bye.